Welcome, guys, to another episode of Millennials in Ministry. I'm your host, Erin Lashley, and I'm really excited to have Peabod Raps on the show for a second time. You're the first time I'm ever having somebody back on the show
Oh,
for a second
I'm
time. So,
honored. Thank you.
yeah, it's great. So, first question I want to ask you, Peabod, is how did you write Neverending Christmas? All the sounds and stuff like that. What's the story behind you writing that one?
Right. Oh man, that's a good question. Because I was talking with the label and we were like, oh, we should do a Christmas song this year. That would be super fun.
Yeah.
And in my head, I was like, oh, that's easy. You just write a Christmas song. But that's just about as broad as saying like, just write a song. It's like
Yeah.
there's so much you could write about. And so I was just kind of thinking, I was like, I don't know where I'm going to go with this. And so I think I started with the beat first. I knew I wanted to bring like an old Christmas carol and like sing that and then chop it up and sample it. So I started with the Christmas carol you hear at the beginning, and I was like super excited about how that build turned out into the drop.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh my gosh, that took me like 6 hours and the song hasn't even started yet. So there are definitely a lot of layers on that song, and it took me a long time to finish it. But once I got going, I kind of got the idea of this concept that like, if you're a believer, then the implications of Christmas and what that means for us with Jesus coming to earth and dying on the cross and everything, that the implications of Christmas change the rest of our lives completely. And so I was like, that feels like kind of a good message where it fits both in like this is what I believe, but also like being the silly person that I am, just like this is an excuse to celebrate Christmas for as long as I want. So so that's where Neverending Christmas came from.
That's cool. Now, did you come up with the dance at the chorus in the music video?
No, my friend Lisa actually came up with that.
Really?
She's a dancer and a choreographer.
I love that.
I will say she had a few moves that she's like, okay, now do this. And I was like, I don't know how to do that. So I contributed with my lack of dancing ability.
Okay. I love it though, because it felt very much so like you and your style.
Oh,
It was very complimentary to the Peabod brand, so it was really good.
Appreciate it. You can say it very dorky,
I don't like to use that word, but it's fun though. It's fun.
Thanks.
It's you,
Appreciate it.
So with you being signed to a label, like do you have a producer that mixes everything for you, or do you still do the mixing and making your own tracks and all that?
Yeah, good question. I don't do any of the mixing. I've made all of the like beats and everything for my music for a long time. So everything through this next single and the one coming out after that is all self-produced. But then I did a trip in Nashville recently with a bunch of different producers, just kind of like trying my hand at the co-writing things. So met up with some really, really awesome people over there. And so there's some starts to a few songs that we're going to see where those go. So there will be some diversity in the production coming out in the future.
That's awesome. That's so cool.
I'm excited about it.
How was your concert in Seattle? Because I know that was a big deal for you, and you sold out on that show, and it's your hometown and everything.
Yeah.
So how was that concert for you?
Oh man, it was the best. Thanks for asking. It was a super fun night just because there are a lot of people. I originally released Healthy Snacks, on my own, like on SoundCloud. And so a lot of the people there were people who have listened to it since it was in its like rough, like unmastered form. And so to see those people there like singing along and supporting was like super awesome. So it didn't really feel like it felt less like a concert and more like a house party where I'm just like, it was a venue and it was a concert, but it's like, oh, it's just me and all my friends and we're just hanging out. And so it was really fun. Yeah.
That's cool. So for concerts, do you normally have like somebody open up for you, or are you normally the one that opens up for other people, or how do they normally work for your shows?
Yeah, it's been kind of all over the place because I played at like, youth groups in churches and things, and that's usually like just me and an opener. But then anywhere that's like, I don't know, I've played at a few festivals, and those are always like I'm opening for people who are opening for other people, and it like, you know, I'm way down the bill. So that's probably more honest to where I'm at in the space right now, is like an opener's opener. But with a hometown show, I can headline, and that'll be fun. So yeah,
that's cool. That's very cool. I enjoy seeing you post about all that stuff. Like,
oh, thanks.
And I liked your video today too.
Oh yeah.
The different, how long it takes to like complete a video is pretty funny.
Yep, thanks. That was my roommate Alec, who was wearing all the Santa gear.
I love it. So what's the story on the new single coming out, Antisocial? What's that about? Can you give us a little preview?
Yeah, I can hint a little bit. So I mean, it's just what the title sounds like. It's I think that you know, everyone hits a wall nowadays, especially I think with social media, where there's just like so much going on, and I think the holidays, people really feel this too, where it's like, I have gone to 18 Christmas parties, and it's, you know, not even halfway through December yet, and you're buying gifts and trying to track down stuff with family members, and it just gets crazy. And I think that's just living in 2018 and being an adult. So so I just kind of was like writing about that, and that feeling of being like, even though I'm an extrovert, I need some time like to just be by myself for a minute. And so I like to joke that it's like as dark as Peabod gets, and it's just like, I just need some alone time. So it's like, it's still very lighthearted and fun, but it's also kind of like, okay, but give me some space. So and there's a video for this too that picks up where the Christmas video ends. Because I like walk out the door at the end of that one, so you can watch them back to back, and
that's
almost
cool.
in like a loop. So that'll be cool.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Vance 157 asks, would you consider yourself a Christian artist? How do you typically answer that?
Yeah, I would say absolutely. I think that people get really wrapped up in like, I don't know, there was a big push from a lot of Christian rappers a few years ago saying like, I'm not a Christian rapper, I'm a Christian who raps. And I think there's this kind of, I don't know, I think that there's kind of a hipster mentality that a lot of artists can take towards like CCM music. Like, well, I'm not making music that's for Christian radio, so that means that I'm a Christian, but I'm not a Christian artist. And I just think that like, I don't know, I don't think that someone listening through my music is going to get to the end and be like, I don't think this guy really likes Jesus, because it's like, it's pretty obvious on a few songs specifically. It's like, this is very important to me. This is a huge part of who I am. So I would wholeheartedly say I'm a Christian artist. And I think that means different things to different people. But I think that the most important thing is like, I'm proud of my faith and proud to call myself a Christian. And that's important to me. So if you interpret that as like a genre statement or a faith statement, it doesn't really matter to me, because it's true to who I am. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. So, totally. Now that's a really good point. And I think that, you know, sometimes people do try to box you in so that they can know how to treat you. And I think that's just an unfortunate thing. I think people should just take it for what it is and let it speak to you however it speaks to you, you know?
Totally. Well, and I think that's one of the, even though streaming has made it hard for like artists to make money and stuff, I think that's one of the good things about streaming is it opens up people to listen to literally whatever they want. And so you can find hip hop in playlists that would be in like pop playlists, or, you know, like there's a lot of crossover. And so I feel like it's opening it up so that it's like Christian rap isn't its one just only genre, or like Christian music isn't one genre. There's like a lot of freedom and crossover there too. So I think it's good, but I also want to be like, yes, absolutely, I'm a Christian artist, because that's who I am. So
yeah, that's awesome. I had a friend ask me recently, she was like, what's happy trap? I was like, have you never heard of Peabod raps? Like, what is your problem? What do you mean, what is happy trap? It's like trap that's happy. It's the best in the world, you know?
Oh,
So
that's
I had to
awesome.
introduce her to you, but
Yes.
somebody else asked, any advice for aspiring artists? You got some people that look up to you that just wondering some advice from you.
Oh, well, that's nice. I think that the best advice I ever got was from a friend of mine named Scott Capane, who's a singer-songwriter, super talented
Mhm.
guy. Um, and he just would always say, like, just keep your head down and write. And I
Mhm.
think that um, it's really easy as someone who wants to be an artist because there's so many facets of that, like besides the music.
Yeah.
There's social media stuff and branding and merch and playing shows. And I'd say that, like, for me at least, what like fuels me in this is the writing process and making new
Mhm.
music. And so I think that, like, keep your head down and write is really two pieces of advice. One, it's like, don't worry so much about what people are saying, like focus on the art.
Yeah.
And in that, as you're focusing on the art, you'll fall more in love with that process of it. And I think that's really important to be sustainable as an artist. And I mean, not that I know that much about sustainability because I'm just getting started, but in
Sure.
theory, I think if you know that you really love what you're doing and you really love
Mhm.
making the music, then that can be like a place of refuge instead of like, oh, this is work that I have to go and do this.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
okay, this can be fun, even if it's like, I was working on some lyrics last night, and like getting into the studio is work because I have to go and like do something. But once I'm
Yeah.
there, it's like, cool, this can be like rest and just enjoying it because I'm working on
Yes.
lyrics, which I know I love to do. So,
Yeah.
I guess that would be my advice. Just like keep your
Yeah.
head down and write. You'll learn more who you are as an artist and where you want to go, and it'll just become more and more fun as you like work through I don't know, the grind of writing songs.
Yeah. I think that's such good advice because I feel like when people are trying to figure out like what they're passionate about or what they love,
Hmm.
it's paying attention to what processes you love the most because it,
Totally.
like if you can figure out what process you're in that it doesn't feel like work, like what you're
Hmm.
saying,
Yep.
that's what you're really supposed to be doing because
Absolutely.
it doesn't, you love the game,
Yep.
as some of my people that I aspire to look up to say all the time, like
Hmm.
if you love the game, you're never working, you're always playing.
Yes. Absolutely.
Um, so I
Absolutely.
love that. But I want to ask you too, like in 2019, what are you looking forward to the most? I know you're also engaged, so are you
Hmm.
getting married next year?
Yep. I'm getting married in the summer, so that's probably what I'm
That's
looking forward
awesome.
to most. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
really excited about that.
Congratulations about that
Thank
too. That's
you.
really exciting.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
For sure. Well,
Yeah.
Peabody, I appreciate you being on the show once again. I would love to ask you one final question.
Absolutely.
The holidays coming up, we know how busy it is.
Hmm.
We know we don't want Christmas to end. We want it to be never
Sure.
ending,
Sure.
But what would piece of advice would you give to people closing out this year for millennials? What would you say?
Oh man, for millennials specifically, um, I think, and maybe, I mean, this is just advice that I've been given that I'm trying to learn, so
Yeah.
I'll pass that on. I think that I I'm trying to learn what like rest looks like and
Mhm.
what like really being present looks like. I think that those are things that we talk about a lot and that are kind of buzzwords. Like hashtag authenticity was like a buzzword for a while, and
Yeah.
but I think that I'm really trying to learn, like, to go, okay, just because I took one night to go to bed early doesn't mean that I'm rested. There might
Yeah.
need to be some other things where I say no to, and I'm such a people pleaser that
Yeah.
and I mean that's really kind of what antisocial is about, is like
Yeah.
I'm nearing burnout and I need to rest, and I don't want to just get stuck in this cycle of getting close to burnout so that I get sick and I'm forced to, be on bed rest or something. And
Yeah.
I think that's the case for a lot of millennials, because it's like you can just fill your life with anything. And
Yep.
so, and like very good things too. You could be crazy active in your church and your community and realize that you have no free nights and you're just exhausted. And so I
Yes.
think like learning that it's okay to like retreat for a little while and like get that rest so that you can pour out into people. I think that's a good piece of advice. And then I think that people have been saying like, learn how to be present to me for years. And I'm like, I don't even know what that means. And so I think I'm figuring out that like, that means using the like time limit app for the apps on my phone and like not just clicking like remind me in another 15 minutes every time that I hit my limit. And it means putting the phone down. And I think it also means like if I'm anxious about something, being present with that anxiety and not just saying like I need this to go away now, but sitting in it, realizing where it's stemming from, giving it to God in the moment, realizing I'm not going to die. You know, I think being present is more than just like put your phone down and be with people, even though it's good. I think that it's also like connect to what you're feeling right now and give that to God and realize that he's bigger than your circumstances. So, so those are my two rambling pieces of advice for the holidays.
I love it. That's really good advice closing out the new year. So thank you so much, Peabod. It's been great to chat with you, and I look forward to keeping up with you and following you in 2019 and all the good things that are in store for you.
Oh, well, thank you, Erin. Well, it's good to talk to you. Thanks so much.
You too. Yeah, you're welcome. Have a good night.